Imagine this. After the Nifty 50 fell 9% between September and December, you thought it was a good opportunity to invest. In early January, you started a 10,000 rupees monthly SIP Nifty 50 index fund. After your second installment, the market fell another 6% in February. You checked your SIP returns to know the impact of the February market correction. To your surprise, it showed minus 71.88%. Does that mean your 20,000 is reduced to just 5,624 after the correction? Well, while the returns were indeed minus 72%, you did not lose 14,376. And your current investment is not 5,600. I'm pretty sure you are completely confused right now. But this is how SIP returns are calculated. Hello and welcome to our channel 5-Minute Finance by ET Money, where we discuss the basics of investing and personal finance. In this video, we'll discuss how SIP returns are calculated. We'll also explain why the SIP returns showed minus 72% in our example when your corpus fell by just 6%. First, let's understand what's really happening when you invest through an SIP with an example. So say you start a 6-month SIP of 5,000 rupees in Nifty Small Cap 250 Index Fund. It began in October 2024 and ended in March 2025. So your first SIP will be invested for 6 months, second for 5 months and third for 4 months and so on. You can check the table on the screen for reference. Now as you can see, a monthly SIP of 5,000 shows different outcomes depending on when the money was invested. Older installments, like the one invested in October, saw losses due to prolonged correction. On the other hand, recent SIPs, like the one invested in March, did better as markets recovered. This highlights how each SIP behaves differently based on its time of entry. That's why calculating SIP returns gets slightly complicated. So how do you calculate SIP returns? SIP returns are also known as XIRR or Extended Internal Rate of Return. XIRR is a method for calculating returns when money is invested over different periods. It calculates the overall returns of different investments made over time. XIRR works wonderfully when you are looking at investment returns for a period of 1 year or more. But it's not the best method to calculate short-term returns. Let's go back to our initial example. After 2 months, the XIRR was minus 72%, but your actual corpus was rupees 18,720. This means your investments were down by around 6%. So the drawback with XIRR is that it annualizes your returns. Let me simplify this further. Say you earned a 5% return on your investment in 1 month. The XIRR will show this as 60% by annualizing it. It assumes that you will earn the same returns for the entire year, and we know that equity investments could be different for each month. So if your SIP is only a few months old, XIRR can look extreme. It's not because the market is bad, but because the math is overreacting. If your SIP is less than a year old, look at the absolute returns. In simple terms, it shows how much your investment has gained or lost so far. For instance, if you have invested 30,000 rupees and your portfolio is worth 27,000, your absolute return is minus 10%. And if the amount grows to 33,000 rupees, that's a 10% gain. So here's a rule of thumb you can follow. For SIPs under a year, look at absolute returns. If you have invested a year or more, only then look at XIRR. Now you might wonder, why shouldn't we look at absolute returns for the long term instead of XIRR? An example should help clarify this. So let's say someone tells you they made a 200% return. Sounds impressive, right? But here's the key question. How long did it take? If it happened over 5 years, that's impressive. But if it took 20 years, it's not very exciting. That's the problem with absolute returns. It doesn't capture the amount of time someone remained invested. Let's say there are two investors, A and B. Both invested 10 lakh and end up making 30 lakh rupees. But investor A made 30 lakh in 5 years and investor B in 15 years. Both investors tripled their money, but one did it much faster. When you account for time, investor A's returns are close to 25% and investor B's returns are just 7.5%. So, absolute returns don't work when you look at returns over a year. Okay. We spoke about SIPs. What about a lump sum investment? Let's discuss that in the next section. What happens if you make a one-time investment instead of an SIP? In that case, things are simpler. Say you invest 10 lakh in one go. For this, you don't need XIRR. In this case, you look at CAGR or compounded annual growth rate. So if you invest 1 lakh rupees and end up with 5 lakh in 5 years, your returns are 38%. But if you end up with the same amount after 10 years, your CAGR will be 17.5%. Let's sum up all of what we just discussed. For SIPs under 1 year, we look at absolute returns. For over a year, we check the XIRR. Absolute returns are also a better option for short-term lump sum investments. But if you invest lump sum over a year, look at the CAGR. So a lot of new investors panic when they see an XIRR of minus 80% after a single bad month. But now you know that's not your actual loss. It's just the limitation of XIRR. Always use the right return metric to understand how your investments have fared. With this, we have come to the end of this video. If you found it helpful, subscribe to the channel for no jargon investing insights. Do let us know in the comment section whether you found this useful or not.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.